Hey guys, Mr. Jalapeno here with another episode of Jalapeno Drywall. And on today's project, I'm going to show you how I patched up this hole here in the entry hallway. But before you start doing anything, just make sure you lay down some plastic. And then I'm just going to use my level to square up this hole. The homeowners had some plumbing issues and the plumber had to cut the drywall. He actually didn't do such a bad job. All I had to do is just clean it up a little bit, square it up like I mentioned earlier. I'm using both my utility knife and my drywall saw to cut into the drywall. You always want to be cautious with any electrical wires or any plumbing. You don't want to cut into them. And now once I'm done cutting the drywall, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the old screws. I'm also going to go ahead and add a little bit of wood backing to reinforce the patch a little bit. This is really going to help strengthen this repair. That way it doesn't crack in the future. Okay, now we're done with the prep work. It's time to measure the drywall out. So I'll go ahead and measure the length and the width. It always helps me to write it down. And once you have your measurements, go ahead and cut your drywall. That little drywall square is a must-have for cutting drywall. I'll have a link in my bio if you want to get any of the tools or materials that I used here in this video. Just go to my Amazon storefront. But anyways, once you've cut the drywall, go ahead and place it in the hole. And now you can start screwing the drywall to the studs and the backing I added. Just make sure you don't put your screws in too deep. You want to make sure you don't rip that drywall paper. And once you're done screwing, it's time for that hot mud. You can also just use regular joint compound, but if you want to finish it in one day, I recommend you use this hot mud or Easy Sand 5. All you have to do is just add a little bit of water, mix it up, and I like to get it to the consistency of like sour cream. And what I'm doing here, this step is called pre-fill. You want to make sure you get that hot mud into the seams, that way there's no bubbles or any cracking. So after I pre-filled, I'm just going to apply this mesh tape over the seams. You can also use paper tape or fiberfuse, it's up to you. And now I'm just going to mix a little bit more hot mud, but instead of it being the Easy Sand 5, I'm using Easy Sand 20. Since this is a bigger patch, I like to use the Easy Sand 20 because it gives me a little bit more time to work with the mud. And as you can see, I'm just applying the hot mud with my putty knives, and then I use that 24-inch level 5 blade to smooth everything out. I ended up doing 2 thick coats and a touch-up coat on this patch. It has to be a level 5 smooth because the type of texture I'm applying is not very forgiving. If there's any imperfections, you're going to definitely see them, so I have to make sure it's super smooth. And as you see here, I'm applying the texture with the foam roller, and then I go over it with the pull trowel to give it this texture finish. It looks like little waves on the wall. I actually really like it. It's like the closest thing to a flat wall that we get here in Colorado, at least the areas that I work in. What do you think? Do you like this type of texture? Let me know in the comments. I told the homeowners to just let it dry for 24 hours because they're the ones that did the painting. And then I came back a few weeks later to see how everything turned out, and the clients were super happy. And that's pretty much it. Jalapeno Solutions. Boom!